Hey guys, gonna hit the Nacet again today. Looks like 270, 60, 70, 279 is today's use number. Because here's the dots. You can see 8 dots. All right. I have used this razor with the Nacet before, but I started at too low a gap. I started at the mid-range. I'm just going to start right away with the number 6 plate, the biggest plate it has. This is the Rockwell. This is not the stainless steel version. This is the cheaper version, the 6C. And this is the gunmetal version. I like the finish a lot. I like the gunmetal color. It's pretty heavy. But it's a Semogue razor. It's not the stainless steel. So it's not going to last quite as long. Picture day is the soap. Semogue 2000 is the brush, and it's a Boar brush. Nice long loft here. I'm going to get it back in the water. He's been soaking already for several minutes. And lavender, rosemary, and pepper are the 3 main notes that I was able to pick out when I first tried this soap. It is summer break. It's their take on the barbershop style of scent, and I'm a barbershop fan, and so I definitely enjoy the performance of this base as well as the scent. And you can tell it's the version 1 because it has the little schoolhouse there. He changed his logo with the version 2. He said people thought it looked like a church, and I can see why, but that's a little bell on top of the schoolhouse and not the cross, you know, so it's a schoolhouse there. So this is version 1, and it's still a great base. Version 2 is even better, but 1 is still very nice. Yeah, and you can see I've scooped it before, but I'm keeping this guy around because I enjoy it. Glad to have it. And it was a gift because I won it. There was a PIF. PIF means pay it forward. Guy got online. Guess who that guy was? He recently did a parody of my shave style and called himself Sugar Cosmo. So Josh is his name on YouTube. There's my 3 dots there. Put it toward the handle, which is what I've been doing with this blade. Cosmo Barber is his username on Reddit. He's a great guy. And he piffed picture day, and I won. Pretty cool. Because I'm using that today because today is Manadyne Monday. And Manadyne is a user on the wet shaving subreddit that really is such a generous guy. He's always doing these piffs. I guess he gets soaps in, tries them out, then just gives them away. Just a wonderful, wonderful, generous spirit there, helping people out and all that kind of stuff. And so he gets his own day because on his day, we use either a soap that we've won or a soap that we have been gifted. So there we go. Now, yesterday, I didn't say it during my video. I just spaced out. Yesterday, when I used Dr. John's 13, that was Try That Soap Day. TryThatSoap.com is a great resource, and they have a couple of different facets to that website. It's maintained by this one guy. You can get on there and donate if you want to, but everything's free. You don't have to donate. He has offered his programming services to create a nice looking website. It can format your shave of the days for you. It can keep a list of your shaved in, all of your items, so that it's just a few clicks to be able to then post your shave of the day, including spots for your notes. Another facet of his website is the actual inventory and the data for the soaps and aftershaves. I use that, and that's where I really use the site a lot. I format my own shave of the day, so I don't really need that part quite as much. But the library of information that he's amassed is terrific. You know why? Because we have soap makers that are wonderful and a part of our history that have just had to close up shop for various reasons. And so when they close down their website, where is the reference now that tells us about their soaps? The notes that they have, the the ingredients, all these different things, even what the soaps are called, and maybe some artwork. It's all just lost. I mean, you can use, what is it, Archive the Wayback Machine or something online to step back in time with some of those type sites, but sometimes it's incomplete. But with Try That Soap, you've got a lot of that stuff that's stored in his database, and so that's pretty cool. And so that's where I really use his site as a reference. You can also suggest some fragrances. If you look up a soap that you really like, you find that page on his website and you look down below, and it will look at the scent notes that have been listed, and it'll try to find the best matches and give you some ideas. Not always perfect, because it doesn't record the percentage of the scent ingredients, but it might help you out. All right. So I wanted to make sure I spent a minute here talking about Try That Soap, because I forgot to yesterday. Threw a little water on my face. So yesterday was Try That Soap. Your friendly Pyro is the Reddit username of the guy who does trythatsoap.com. And I was gifted this soap, Generous Piff, by Cosmo Barber on Reddit, or Josh R on YouTube. All right, we will do a 30-second load. My notes in the past said that the 30-second load gave me about 4 or 5 passes of lather, so let's just do that. We started at the 05, so we will stop at 35. Just kind of medium pressure, making the brush splay just a little bit. 5 more seconds. Not a lot is overflowing, but some. And there we go. That is what a 30-second load looks like with this long loft, larger diameter than a lot of the Semogues out there brush. This brush has had about 23 uses, and so he is definitely not broken in all the way yet, but he makes very nice lather. He doesn't kill lathers or anything like that, which is sometimes what young boars can do, but he is not going to do that. This little guy is in my Boarathon rotation, where I'm tracking the development and the growth of right now it's like a dozen brushes, and I'm trying to get them all synced up, and he's been synced up quite a while for about half of those, and I brought in some new boars that I'm trying to catch up to the rest of the group, and the most of the group is on 23 or 24 uses. These boars do change very much at the beginning. So it looks like I've kind of brought this to a nice little pasty point. My notes said that for 30 seconds, 3.5 teaspoons gave me success last time. Now, does that mean I'm going to add exactly that and quit? No, it just gives me a ballpark. Two teaspoons. Wow, that looks terrific. Three teaspoons. And at this point, we'll start looking at it a little more carefully. I use the historical record to kind of get me to an approximation. Get a good mix here, and then we'll look at it and see if we need to keep adding. See how it's holding itself up on the walls? Let's go ahead and put in that half teaspoon here. Really enjoy this brush. I did have to put a couple of black O-rings on it because the splay was really big otherwise. And it really rescued the brush for me, and I do enjoy using it quite a bit. So summer break has stepped into the world of the artisan shave soap market. He's still around. That's kind of hard to do. We've definitely had other guys come in and not be able to hang. He's got a neat approach. He's a nice guy. He's very active on the sub. Nice scents. His second formulation also I like because I think he strengthened up the scents a little bit more than they started out with. I remember back to school, I think I really enjoyed it, but it was just so faint that I just had to pass it on to somebody else. All right, this is a 4 teaspoon lather. Look at that elasticity. Haha, there we go. That's gorgeous. That is nice. All right, so let's just use that. Just got in from traveling and I'm ready to go to bed. This is a larger diameter knot than a lot of the other Semogues. However, it's still got a very light feel to it. Doesn't have nearly the backbone of those high density Badger brushes, and that's okay. It's not supposed to. It's got great flow through, very soft, comfortable, and it jumped into that comfortable, no prickle, no scritch or scratch zone pretty quickly for me. I'm interested to see how the Rockwell does, starting with the most aggressive plate. The vintage Gillette adjustables, I am all like the fat boy. I am starting at the 9 setting, which is the most aggressive one for them as well. So it's kind of fitting that it'd be the same thing with the Rockwell. It looked like it needed a little bit more water. We want to work it on our face for a couple minutes. Let it soften our beard, kind of join and bond and soak into the skin a little bit so it does a good job protecting. And there we go. All right, Rockwell. Now, I used to have the stainless steel version. It's an expensive razor. I think it was my first expensive razor purchase. it is not a razor head that holds the blade very close to the edge from the bottom. Obviously you can see it comes close to the edge on the top cap, but the bottom is 5 millimeters away from the edge, and so it's not as firm of a hold. It's not as consistent as, for me, as the carved Christopher Bradley. When I got my Chris Bradley razor, I kind of instantly knew that the Rockwell was going to leave. I did shave with it a couple more times, and then I sold the stainless steel version, and I haven't regretted it at all. Just kind of, for me, the Bradley really kind of beats the Rockwell at just about every metric. Now, that's my skin. There are definitely very good, reputable shaving guys out there who like the feel of the Rockwell, and that's okay. They've kind of had some problems lately. They kind of had some disasters with the Model T razor that they put out. Big delays. They've had some QC problems. When I bought mine, they were legendary for their customer service with the stainless steel version. If you had any issues, you could contact them and they would just work with you and have your problem solved pretty quickly. I think they've started to have some more quality control issues though. But hey, as long as they fix them for people, right? That first pass there was pretty comfortable. Very nice. Now, it took me several passes the last time, but like I said, I started with a gap that was in the mid-range instead of with the most aggressive one. All right. Load the brush up with another serving of this terrific looking lather. Smells great. It's a nice barber shop. I like it. And I did feel quite a bit of stubble when I did the rinse. So let's just do another with the grain pass. Maybe that'll take the growth down a little bit better. And a little half rinse. Well, there are definitely razors after 2 passes with this Nacet that do a lot better. So this is probably not going to go in the good list with the Fat Boy and the Carve, the Wolfman, and the Fatip Grande. Those guys do a great job. And it's not saying this is a bad razor, it's just that the geometry here, the bend of the blade, the gap here of the safety bar, placement of the top cap, all those things are just not quite as conducive for the wear pattern that's currently on this razor blade. Tell you what, the 6 is not being aggressive. So sometimes the fun part about shaving with older blades is you get to use settings, base plates that you can't normally use with younger blades. So this is the third pass, but the pattern here is kind of like my usual second pass with kind of the cross grain. Good bit of comfort here, very well protected. Skin feels great. Rinse there. And now, so that was the third pass, technically. Now we'll do the fourth. This is a nice, slick lather, and the brush is soft. It's enjoyable to work on my face here. I don't have to do this actually, because all I need to do is kind of wipe on a good layer of it, but I just enjoy the feeling of the brush there. So I'm going to do the same cross grain pattern, because I do not do against the grain. I could get away with it on my cheeks probably, but on my neck it causes a little too much irritation. I get very nice shaves. With my cross grain. Wonderful lather there. You can see it kind of dripping off, and that's a good sign we've got a nice, well hydrated lather. That'll just do, I think. I don't think it's super close, but I think it's close enough. I'll do a full rinse and check it out. Yeah, still several good many hairs here that showing a little bit of length on them, so, but it's actually a little bit better than I thought it would be. I will put this in the maybe too mild category, and it's not because the 6 is a mild setting. It definitely is a aggressive setting for me. If it had a younger blade in it, it would be too aggressive for me to use. But with this particular blade and the way no doubt the way the angle, microscopically, the way the angle of the blade is changing, just is not quite the right geometry for it. That's okay. That is okay. So we did 4 passes. And everywhere else, I feel very good about the closeness, so I'm happy there. Just my trouble spot that's giving me trouble. So a couple more passes left. Look at that. Nice elasticity. We take I could definitely enjoy an aftershave of this scent. I like it a lot. And so if we just kind of look at our little highly sophisticated lather analysis here, we have a very nice hydrated lather. Looks great. It's glistening because it's just got so much water in it. Push a bunch of water up to the fingertips so we can kind of pull it apart. Look at the weight of the water bearing down on those tips. The slickness here, kind of a light, soapy, but it's got a little bit more viscosity, so that it's like a light, oily, soapy type of slickness. So this is a nice performance lather, very wet, but it's still holding up. It's still a creamy, There's a creamy nature to it. So it's just a very nice base, and that's the version 1 base. It gets even better, I believe. Yeah, see, it held a bunch of water, but still maintained a little bit of creaminess there to kind of give it a luxury feel. Really nice. All right. I did add a little bit of water to the brush, so we ended up with 4.5 teaspoons of water used for a 30-second load. So this one's kind of along the lines of the Semogue Owners Club, with a big splay. It's got a big knot, lots of spread there, and this is only 24 uses old or so, 25 now, I guess. I don't have a problem getting these handles wet during the shave. I just dry them off afterwards. They've got a stain on them and stuff, so they should be fine. If we just don't store them wet, they should be great. So that's an awesome little brush. Really one of my favorites from Semogue. If you can't pony up the dough for the Semogue Owners Club, that's the guy I'd recommend. A little less money, but many of the same attributes. Since this is a barbershop scented soap in that genre, definitely, I see no reason why we shouldn't use Barrister and Mann's barbershop. This is Seville, and this is, I think this was the formulation. Does it say the name of the formulation? Back when it was the glissant base was the most current one, so it's a few years old. It's got some skin goodies, not just a scent. A little bit of alcohol, but my shave was so smooth and comfy, no stinging or anything like that. I like Seville a lot. Big fan. Oh, hey, also wanted to tell you about Semogue razors, pop metal razors, and this is one of them. Looks great, looks all shiny. That's because it's been plated in chrome or some other type of metal with other razors. You're not likely to see too much damage. You can definitely notice the plating here. You're not going to see, this is not going to be the item that's going to get damaged. But if you look, this razor hasn't been used too many times, and we're already starting to see just a little wear on the threading in a couple of places. And this started out being plated, but with the threading wearing as you tighten and untighten the razor, if water is allowed to stay in that area with the Semogue razor, once the plating goes away and the Semogue, the pop metal, is exposed, corrosion because of water can happen very quickly. So clean it, dry that threading there, or after a while it's going to pop and break. Sometimes when you drop it, because then that stresses it just a little too much, and then the little fragment will be stuck down in the handle. The handle is also Semogue, and so the threading inside there, you can't see it, but the threading, there's no way to get in there and dry it out, so you just kind of have to do your best. But just dry out the bolt, on the top cap there. It's less important to maintain it to that level when you just got it. Maybe the first, 100 uses. I'm not really sure, but obviously the plating hasn't worn away on the 5th use, right? So, but once the plating does kind of wear away, you got to keep that dry, and then it will give you years of use. It really will. Don't let water linger on those areas though, where the plating wears away. All right, wonderful soap. Now that I've got the Seville around me, let me smell this. The Seville is kind of overpowering this, which is fine because it's kind of supposed to. Soap is not supposed to be stronger than an aftershave. Wonderful scent. I think we're ready to shut everything down. So tomorrow will be use number 280. How about that? close to 300. It's just nuts. All right. In the morning, I will wake up and see what the new challenge is. Each day, there's a little daily challenge, it seems. The other day, it was convince Condenser to come back and keep doing his videos on YouTube, Michael Friedberg. And then what was yesterday's, or what was today's? There's the Wet Shavers Digest, and they wanted, today's challenge was to get an idea for an article and to present the idea as a part of your SOTD post. And the one I suggested was to explain a lot of the weird names and the genres of scents that might be atypical or confuse some of us. There are words like fougere, chypre. There are scent notes like ambergris that we just have no clue what they are as laymen, and it would be a really neat article if they would write one to talk about those pieces and bits and help us to understand some of those types of terms. Pretty cool, huh? That's my suggestion anyway. All right. Well, there we go, man. That's a good shave. I love the Summer Break soap base. Even the version number 1, that lather was beautiful. Felt great on the face. Luxury feel, creaminess while still being really, really wet. Happy about that. Happy about that. All right. Well, I hope there was something good here in this shave that will help you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.